Namaskaram to all and welcome to this session on the Shakti temples of Himachal. To take us through this session, we have with us Srimati Divya Prasad. Divya Prasad is a writer, travel blogger at obsessivecompulsivetraveler.com, an independent indigenous researcher, content creator, a sacred geometric artist at Iktomi, and energy healer living her little dream in the Himalayas. She is on a journey to unearth the ancient wisdom, spiritual practices, and mysticism on her travels across India and other parts of the world. Over years of exploring the Himalayas and living there, she has penned down the stories on the divine feminine. The path of the goddesses led her to explore spirituality and culture in Himachal Pradesh. Her focus is on inking indigenous and mystic stories rooted in the past that lend life wisdom, perspectives and transformation. So I now request Srimati Divya Prasad to take over the stage and take us through this enchanting journey through the Shakti temples of Himachal.
Namaste, I'm Divya Prasad. Today I'll be sharing folklores and tales from the mystical land of Himachal. Let me take you through the indigenous traditions of Shakti worship and the ancient temples of Devi in Himachal Pradesh. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matra Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Devi, she is the divine mother, Jagat Mata. As Prakriti, she is the ebb and flow of life. In Himachal, you can see the Devi is worshipped in many forms. In her Vedic and Puranic forms as well as indigenous folk forms. So, let me take you through the traditions of Devi worship in Himachal. The remotest and highest corners of the state echo with the essence of Shakti. The worship of Yoni alongside Shiva, the lingam, is also very prevalent here. Himachal being the birthplace of Parvati, Shakti worship is naturally a way of life. Around the 320 AD to 550 AD, the worship of Parvati gained a lot of prominence, she being the counterpart of Shiva. So, Devi is a part of not just the spiritual system but also the ecological system, agricultural system, political system, as well as environmental system. So, you will see that Himachal has a very unique tradition with respect to Devis and Devtas. Divine kinship is what governs the land. So what is divine kinship? Which means that the deities rule a certain area, a territory or a province. So Devi here is worshipped in many forms. For example, you have the Puranic forms such as Parvati, Durga, Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, Kali, but at the same time you also have indigenous forms such as Docha Mocha, who is an incarnation of Devi Bala Tripura Sundari. Then you have Sandhya Gayatri, who is the meditative state of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. And you have Devi Hidimba, who is the demon goddess who transformed from the queen of a sacred grove, a vana, to attain the state of goddess. And while a lot of them refer to them as like Hidimba as a form of Durga, but in the sacred traditions here, she has an individuality of her own. So all the Devis are classified as per their gunas. So namely the Sattva, Rajasa and Tamasa. And the rituals also revolve around the nature of the deity. let me take you through some of the Shaktipitas of Himachal. Himachal Suthanata Samstate Parameshwari Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yaso Dehi Sojahi. So as you can see that, she has always been referred to as the Himalaya Putri. So there is a lore around the incident of Sati jumping into the yagna of Daksha upon Daksha humiliating her husband Shiva, and she jumps into the yagna, and all her body parts were scattered in different parts of the world. So in Himachal there are primarily like 5 Shaktipitas, which are associated with an organ or a part of Sati. These Shaktipitas are like classified as Padakhanda, Sthalakhanda, Yonikhanda and Mukhakhanda. So these are the different body parts and ornaments which are also known as Anga Pratyanga. So these spots are guarded by the Bhairava. First is Jwalamukhi. The body part associated with this temple is the tongue of Sati. It is believed that the flaming tongue of Sati fell here. This temple is located in Kangra Valley, and the Devi sits here in the form of Ambika and Siddhida. She is referred to as the Devi of 9 flames, and it is still a mystery how the flames are lit eternally without any human intervention. Second would be Chintpurni Devi, and the body part associated with this temple is the feet of Sati. Rajasa is the guna of the Devi. Shumbasya Nishumbasya Dhumrakshasya Chamardini Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yaso Dehi Disojahi. This best describes the Devi here. So Chintpurni is also known as Chinamastika, and the form is Devi without a head, and she's holding her head in her hands, and the blood is splurting and consumed by 2 yoginis, Jaya and Vijaya. As per folklore, when Ma Chandi was fighting the demons that had plagued the earth, Jaya and Vijaya, the 2 yoginis, assisted her, and during the fight, these 2 yoginis were thirsty for blood. That's when Ma Chandi cut off her own head in order to feed Jaya and Vijaya. This Devi represents the spirit of self-sacrifice and the merging of human consciousness into divine consciousness. And the head, the headlessness represents the separation of mind from the body. Then let's talk about the third temple, that is the Chamunda Devi temple. The body part associated with this temple is the skull of the goddess, and this Devi's guna is Tamasa. The Chamunda Devi temple is also located in Kangra, and there are like scenes of Mahabharata and Ramayana depicted in the walls of the temple. And the idol of the Devi is guarded by Hanuman and Bhairava. According to legends, This Devi was enshrined as Rudra Chamunda, who assisted Lord Shiva during his fight with the demon Jalandhara. And she is also regarded as a tamasic incarnation of Kali. And there is a tradition here that throughout the year, every single day, there is a corpse burning here. And the temple is right beside a river, and there is a cremation ground. So every day there is a dead body, and they say that, there is at least one dead body which is burnt here to honor Devi Chamunda. And a lot of sacrificial rites are also performed here. The fourth one is the Bajeshwari Devi Shaktipita. It is located again in Kangra district. And she is also known as Vajreshwari, another form of goddess Durga. It is said that the left breast of Devi fell at this spot. There is another law which speaks about how Devi Vajreshwari had assisted goddess Durga during her battle with Mahishasura, and she injured her chest, and to soothe this wound, there is a ritual that is followed at this temple. They apply butter on the chest, and this happens every year during Makar Sankranti. A few days before Makar Sankranti, they begin the rituals of applying butter on the goddess. And after a week, this butter is distributed as prasadam to the devotees. And the locals believe that, this butter is a miraculous cure for several illnesses. The fifth one is the Naina Devi Shaktipita. The body part associated with this temple is the eyes of Sati. They say that there is a beautiful lake which represents the eyes of Sati herself. And the guna of this Devi is Sattva. So this Shaktipita is located in the Bilaspur district of Himachal Pradesh. And here there is another law which speaks about Devi defeating Mahishasura. Hence, the Naina Devi hill is also known as Mahishapita. And the goddess beheaded Mahishasura and offered his skull to Lord Brahma. And there is a special festival held every year during the month of Chaitra, which is a highly auspicious month here. And there is another festival that happens around August and September as per local almanac, called the Dasa Mahavidya Jayanti, wherein each of the Dasa Mahavidya goddesses are honored on certain days. Then the Naina Devi Fair is a local festival celebrated to honor the goddess, wherein one can see beautiful local traditions and rituals around the goddess, folk dances and music. Then comes Devi as Prakriti, the forces of nature. Here you have Devis representing the Panchatattvas and the terrestrial goddesses. They guard certain forests, passes, water bodies, mountains, etc. Let me share some examples. There's the goddess of night, Ratri, goddess of dawn, Usha, goddess of fertility, then Prithvi Devi, the goddess of earth. Then you have Joginis, the mystic goddesses. And then you have Devis residing in forests and sacred groves, who are known as Apsaras and Dakinis. So every Devi has a role to play. Even the Devtas have certain roles to play, and they manage that particular area. And then there is Chula Devi, the goddess of household fire. So when a meal is cooked on a chula, the first morsel is offered to Chula Devi. Then there are Devis who are territorial entities, and they are the folk Devis. So every village will have a ruling Devi or a Devta, but generally there is always a Devi. And these Devis, they govern the day-to-day affairs and the decisions on environmental, ecological, social matters. And the villagers, the locals, have to follow the traditions of their ruling Devi. Then comes Devi as the serpent goddesses. The serpent mothers are a very important aspect of the ecosystem here. So the Naga worship, the Naga cult worship is very prevalent here. Some examples would be the Budi Nagin, who resides in Serlosar Lake, and she governs that area and is a very revered old Devi. Then comes Devi Koshal Mata. She is the one who gave birth to the 18 Nag Devtas who are scattered across Kulu Valley and other parts of Himachal. So the worship of the serpent goddesses as mothers are an important aspect of the traditions here. Then you have these serpent mothers who govern certain activities like predicting the future, oracle sessions and premonitions, while some also take care of the weather, rains and other activities which are to do with the Patal Loka. So in the ancient times, very few Pandit lineages here had access to Brahminical texts. And this led to the construction of a unique mountain culture around the worship of Devi. So she's worshipped in many forms. One as her Puranic form, secondly as forces of nature, thirdly as indigenous folk goddesses, and as one amongst the community. This is because in this state, the gods and goddesses are live. They are considered to be living deities, and they rule certain territories, areas, villages. So every village here has a ruling deity, and the Devi communicates through a channel known as Gur. So the Gur represents the Devi, and she guides the community through the gur. And the gur has to undergo a lot of tests and like penance. Himachal is known as the land of living gods and goddesses. This means the Devi Devtas here are live and they can be invoked when needed. They communicate with the masses, with the community on day-to-day matters, political matters, social, ecological, environmental and political matters from time to time through their medium, the gur. The Devi Devtas choose the gur themselves. The gur has to undergo a tough sadhana to be able to represent the Devtas. So here the Devi Devtas have palanquins, the palki, and the palki has a mohra. This mohra is made of ashtadhatu, and the palki needs to be carried from one place to another, and the gur is a medium of expression, but the palki also expresses itself through movements. The palkis sway, dance, even move from one place to another, and the kardas help the palki move from one place to another. They carry the palki, and the kardas are appointed by the devta or the devi. It may seem very mystical, but that's how it is here. And I've spoken to some kardas here. They say that the palki moves on its own and it directs the course of where they should dance, when they should dance, and whom they should meet. So yeah, the Devis here are live, and these palkis are more important than the form of the deity in the temples. So every deity will have a palki. And one more aspect is that, even if it's a male deity, each and every palki of all the gods and goddesses here are powered by a yogini. So call it Shakti. So yogini is the Shakti that moves the palki. So whether it's a Rishi's palki or a Devta's palki, yogini is a very important aspect. And that's why they are known as the powering forces.